Deputy Éamon Ó Cuív.
The question I have relates to the interim measures, because it's clear now that we're not going to have a cap for a number of years. This would relate to the ANC. Will it be the same as the old ANC? Will it be just a rollover, or will there be change to BPS, to glass, etc.? So you might outline what's going to happen over the next few years, because a lot of farmers need to know so they can get on with their business.
Thank you, Deputy Minister.
Deputy Cuív, and thank you for the question today. The provision of the interim cap measures for the transitional period between the current Rural Development Programme and the post-2020 CAP strategic plan is closely related to the progress on the transitional regulations, which will provide a range of options for Member States to deploy over the period. Since their publication in November 2019, the transitional regulations have been subject to extensive discussions between the Council, the European Parliament and the Commission. A common understanding was reached between the Council and the Parliament on the text in June, including in relation to a transition period of 2 years' duration. The Commission position remains in favour of a 1-year transition period. This issue will be finalised in tandem with the incorporation of the details of the 2021 to 2027 EU budget into the transitional regulations once the budget has been agreed with the European Parliament now, which is expected by the end of October. In the meantime, I am currently considering the potential options available, as well as engaging with stakeholders for their views. We will need to ensure that what we do in the transitional period is consistent with programme for government commitments, as well as providing a solid foundation for the development of our CAP strategic plan for the period to 2027. In addition, the very ambitious targets set out in the EU biodiversity strategy and farm to fork strategy will have to be taken into account. I and ministerial colleagues tend to continue my meetings with farm bodies and stakeholders now over the coming weeks to hear their views and to get their input importantly. And I am also conscious, Deputy Cuív, that we have a very limited time to make decisions and to implement workable solutions. I do think, Deputy Cuív, it's important that we do have we can give certainty to farmers in the near future. Obviously, the budget and the estimates campaign will be important in that regard too, and I want to ensure, working with in government and with ministerial colleagues, that we can see schemes replicated and income streams maintained for farmers, and obviously as well in terms then of framing the next CAP programme to ensure that schemes are there which continue to contribute substantially to incomes, but also importantly deliver on the various objectives that from a sustainability point of view as well.
Minister, when REPs 1, 2 and 3 and 4, and then we had the AS, I think 1, 2 and 3, and then glass. Now you could pass seamlessly from one to another, and this became a very fundamental part of a lot of farmers' incomes. And suddenly at the end of glass, nothing. Now are we going to get an interim environmental measure? Because farmers can't wait. They have to feed families, they have to live. So I was just wondering, are we going to get, as I said, an interim environmental measure while we're waiting for the 2027, 22 to 27 programme? Because in every other CAP we were able to roll them over into new schemes all the time. I don't know why it didn't happen in the last CAP.
Thank you, Deputy Cuív. Thank you, Deputy Cuív. I know this is something that you've raised regularly in the past as well, and I absolutely accept the importance of ensuring that income stream, which the environmental schemes have been very important for to farmers, is continued, and also, of course, as well, the outcomes we get in terms of environmental outcomes and also in terms of contributions to biodiversity, that we don't see the opportunity to ensure those outcomes continue missed either. So certainly it is my objective, Deputy Cuív, to ensure that we do have a continuation into next year for those that are coming out of glass, and as they emerge that we don't see gaps. And I'm certainly looking at the options as to how we do that, and also, of course, in terms of the programme for government commitment towards the introduction of a new scheme and how a pilot scheme would look. But the basic objective is to ensure that for those coming out of glass we can see a continuation, and that they will continue to be in an environmental scheme and continue to be in a position to receive the income that's generated by that as well.
Minister, my understanding is that some people have come out of glass and they've been left high and dry. people who have depended over years. Now, I know the class was a lot smaller than the previous schemes, and NEOS was smaller than REPS. REPS was the biggest scheme, particularly REPS 4. But you've gone for certain farmers now from, say, 11,000, 12,000 down to nothing. They're still adhering to the same very high standards in terms of the environment. But the income stream is gone. And as I said, people have to live and survive. Many of them on high value, nature value land, but land with relatively low productivity and constrained productivity by rules laid down by your department.